eggshells are an excellent source of calcium and other micro and micronutrients for your plants. Keep watching this video to find out how to use them in your garden or in your balcony or terrace for your potted plants. Here you see an example of different mineral composition of Slovakian and 3 types of Dutch eggshells powdered. It's easy to see that calcium is a very important composition of the eggshells, which is about 400 milligrams per gram of eggshell, but there are also a variety of other minerals. In farms is not widespread, according to research which I have done, and I think the reason is that it's very difficult to process them on industrial scale, and there are cheaper methods to get calcium for the farms. However, for the home gardeners, that's an excellent solution to get more calcium to the plants, especially for tomatoes that really need it, without buying some additional calcium containing fertilizers. There is some research on how to use them, comparing different variations, different way of introducing eggshells into the soil and to the plants. And based on the reviews, I am proposing this video, which explains what would be the best way to add it to your plants. So first of all, I recommend that you use eggshells which are from raw eggs. So if you, for example, boiled eggs, you can still, of course, use those eggshells, but they will have less macro and micronutrients, because some of it would go during boiling to the water, and then you discard this water. Which also means that don't discard this water. It doesn't contain too high amount of micro and macronutrients and calcium. However, it does contain some, so you can just cool it down and use in your garden for watering your plants. Anyway, coming back to using eggshells, the first step is get your eggshells from raw eggs. The second step is to wash them thoroughly to remove all protein. The reason for that is because this protein, when it goes to the soil, it promotes growth of non-beneficial bacteria and fungi. So you only should use washed eggshells with removed all traces of protein. Once you have done it, dry shells to remove this water. Some people dry it in oven. I think it's you should not do it because you will have to pay for the electricity. Of course, you can just wait 1 or 2 or 3 days while it dries. Once it dry, grind it any way you want. I don't like using my coffee machine because then I might need to repair the coffee machine more often. What I do it by hand because I don't eat too many eggs, but it's up to you how you want to do it. Just grind it. So once it's grinded, it can be potentially added to the soil directly, especially when you plant new plants, especially tomatoes that really need it for good growth. However, that's not the best way to add it because it takes quite a long time for those macro and micronutrients to get to the soil in a way that can be consumed by the plant. The best way, according to this research that I found, is to use so-called eggshell tea, which is basically your eggshells which are boiled for some time in hot water. Unfortunately, I have not found any experiment which explains how long you need to boil it, so I would just boil maybe up to 5 minutes. These are some of the results of the experiment, where control is nothing added at all to the basil when it grows. No dilution means that it was just 1 part of eggshells to 2 parts of water boiled, and then you took this solution and added 10, 20, 30, 40 times more water.
than the solution. So for example, for 1 milliliter, you added 10, 20, 30, 40 milliliters of water. When you sprayed it as a foliar fertilizer on basil, you see the different height in centimeters of basil grows, and according to this, the recommendation is to use this solution, which received by taking 1 part of eggshells to 2 parts of water and boiling for, let's say, 5 minutes, and diluting it to 20 times, which is 10 milliliters for 200 milliliters, which is a cup of solution.
Now it's ready to be used as foliage fertilizer, which means that you can spray it on the top of your plants, on the leaves, so that it gets absorbed. When you are spraying, do spray it also from the bottom of the leaves, because this is how many of the micronutrients can get better and faster inside the plant, because many leaves have some protection on the top of the leaves, which they lack at the bottom of the leaves. That's not the only way to use it. If you don't have a sprayer, you can just use this water for watering your plants. So then it would go to the plant through the roots. This is also a good method. However, it would take longer, and some of the calcium would leach out of the soil. And the third method of adding it is just adding these eggshells to the soil directly. However, it would take a very long time for these nutrients to become available for your plants. We are looking into a year or even several years. So depending on how fast you want to get your results, there are different ways of doing it.
This study also compared average height of basil with the treatment of this homemade eggshell tea fertilizer and calcium nitrate fertilizer on water growing medium, which you see that they are pretty similar. You can also see the same comparison with a commercial calcium fertilizer, and you see that eggshell tea, standard one with 20 times dilution, is much better than an unknown commercial fertilizer.
What I do is I use this solution for spraying my tomatoes and other plants. And then the remainder of it I add to the soil, with the understanding that not all of the nutrients are still there, but it's still useful. So it would take some time to get it in an available form, but it's better to put it into your soil rather than in your garbage bin.
And another figure that shows that if you add eggshell tea fertilizer in the plant and spraying, the average height of basil is a few times bigger than if you just add crushed eggshell to the soil as a fertilizer directly without soaking. And absolutely very last, and the only table in this video, with the chemical components contained in eggshell tea fertilizer prepared by a recipe which I told you. As you see, that it not only contains calcium but another important nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, chloride, sulfur and magnesium.
I do hope that this video is useful and you are going to use this free calcium containing fertilizer for your plants. If you do let me know how it went. Bye for now.